Hello, and a massive welcome to all students out there getting ready to absolutely smash WAEC, NECO, and JAMB exams. My name is, well, you can just call me your favorite physics tutor. And today we are going to lock down a topic that is, I promise you, a guaranteed source of marks. Okay, let's jump right into it. So, let me ask you a question. How can you walk into that exam hall feeling 100% confident about any motion question they throw at you? Well, the answer is simple. By mastering the equations of motion. Look, this isn't just some random topic. It's a core part of your syllabus that examiners love to test every single year. If you can get this right, you're already banking some very easy marks. And just to show you we mean business, everything we are covering in this explainer is pulled straight from your official syllabus. We're going to cover the equations themselves and their derivations. We'll look at how to apply them to objects moving in a straight line, and then we'll tackle that special case of objects moving up and down under gravity. Absolutely no fluff, just pure undiluted exam focus. All right, let's get to the real heart of it. I want you to think of these three equations of motion as your personal, essential toolkit for solving any problem that involves movement. Once you understand them and how to use them, trust me, no question can ever take you by surprise again. Now, before we even open our toolkit, there is one golden rule you must never forget. These equations only work for what we call uniformly accelerated motion. What does that mean? It's simple, really. It just means the object is moving in a straight line and its acceleration is constant. It's not speeding up or slowing down randomly. Please, remember this rule. It is the absolute key to everything we're about to do. So, where do these equations even come from? Are they magic? Not at all. Let's derive the first one together. It's super easy. We just start with the basic definition of acceleration, right? Which is just the change in velocity over time. With a little bit of simple algebra, just rearranging it to make v the subject, and boom, we get our very first key equation. V equals u plus at. Simple as that. Okay, let's move on to our second tool in our kit. S equals ut plus 1/2 at squared. Now, this one is fantastic. Why? Because it directly connects the distance an object travels with the time it took and its acceleration. It's basically your go-to formula for any question where they don't give you the final velocity v. And this brings us to our third and final core equation. V squared equals u squared plus 2as. You know, this one is a real lifesaver in exams. Why? Because it's the only one that connects velocity and distance without needing the time variable t. So, if a question doesn't give you the time or ask you to find it, this is almost certainly the equation you need to use. It's a huge clue. So, let's put all of that together right here. This table you see, it's perfect for a screenshot. It perfectly summarizes your entire toolkit. To choose the right formula, all you have to do is look at the variables the question gives you and what it's asking for. Then you just pick the one equation that fits what you have and what you need. It's just a simple process of elimination. Now that we've pretty much mastered linear motion, let's see how we can adapt our toolkit for a very, very common exam scenario: motion under gravity or free fall. And I've got great news for you. You don't need to learn any new formulas. You just have to slightly adapt the ones you already know. It's that easy. You see, the only real change here is that for motion under gravity, the acceleration isn't some random value a anymore. It's always g, the acceleration due to gravity. Your examiners usually tell you to use it as 10 or maybe 9.8 meters per second squared. And instead of horizontal distance s, we're usually talking about vertical height, which we call h. That's it. Okay, listen up. This next part is absolutely crucial. Your sign convention. This is where so many students lose easy marks. But it's simple. If an object is falling downwards, moving with gravity, we take acceleration as a positive g. But if it's thrown upwards, it's fighting against gravity, so we use a negative g. And please remember this massive exam hint. At the very peak of its flight, its maximum height, the final velocity v is always 0. Theory is great, but marks are won by solving problems, am I right? So let's apply all this knowledge and tackle some real JAMB-style questions. This is where you prove to yourself that you've mastered it. So, are you ready? Let's do this. Okay, here's our first question. Calculate the time taken for a mango fruit that falls from a tree 20 meters to the ground. G equals 10 meters per second squared. Now, before I solve it, I want you to just pause for a moment and think, which formula would you use here? All right, let's break it down together. First things first, we list our variables. It falls, which means it started from rest, so initial velocity u is 0. The distance, s, is 20 meters. Since it's falling, acceleration a is a positive 10. We need to find the time t. The perfect formula is clearly s equals ut plus 1/2 at squared. We substitute our values, solve for t, and we get our answer, 2 seconds. Easy peasy. Let's try another one. This one tests upward motion. A bullet is fired vertically upward from a gun held 2.0 meters above the ground and reaches its maximum height in 4.0 seconds. Calculate its initial velocity, g equals 10 meters per second squared. What are the key clues in this question? Okay, let's solve it. The magic words here are maximum height. Remember what that means? It means the final velocity v is 0. Time t is 4 seconds. And since it's moving upward, acceleration a is negative g, so that's negative 10. We're looking for the initial velocity u. The formula v equals u plus at is perfect. We just plug in the numbers and we quickly find that u equals 40 meters per second. Now, wait a minute. Here's a classic exam trick. Did you notice that 2.0 meters above the ground part? It was completely irrelevant for finding the initial velocity. Examiners love to do this. They add extra information just to see if you can spot what actually matters. Don't you fall for it. All right, last one for today. And this one requires some careful reading. A body falls freely under gravity from a height of 40 meters onto the top of a platform 0.8 meters above the ground. What is its velocity on reaching the platform? The real key here is to figure out the actual distance it fell. So, first things first, we have to calculate the effective distance s. It fell from 40 meters, but it stopped on a platform at 0.8 meters, so the total fall was 39.2 meters. Initial velocity u is 0, of course, and a is a positive 9.8. We need the final velocity v, and notice we don't have time. This is a perfect job for v squared equals u squared plus 2as. We substitute, solve, and find the velocity is approximately 27.7 meters per second. Fantastic work. Seriously, you've seen the theory and you have tackled real exam questions. Now let's lock in all this knowledge with a very quick summary and some final killer tips to make sure you are 100% absolutely ready for exam day. And here it is again, a perfect summary for your revision notes. Take a screenshot of this. It shows all 3 equations side by side for both linear motion and motion under gravity. Just notice how they are fundamentally the same thing. You master one set and you've automatically mastered them all. And these are the golden rules for exam day. Please, listen. First, always list your variables, U, V, A, S, T. This simple step will prevent so many mistakes. Second, double-check and triple-check your signs for gravity. Is it plus G or minus G? And finally, remember those keyword definitions. From rest means U equals 0 and maximum height means V equals 0. Got it? I want to leave you with this thought. These equations are your friends. They are predictable, they are logical, and they appear all the time in your exams. Practice them. Understand the different conditions for using them, and you will score the marks, I promise you. You can do this. If you found this explainer helpful, please do me a huge favor and like this video, share it with your classmates and friends who are also preparing for WAEC, NECO, and JAMB, and subscribe to our YouTube channel right now so you don't miss the next topic. Also, make sure you visit ExamKP.com for thousands of free practice questions and answers. Let's smash these exams together.